So you've got a flight simulator, and you've probably asked yourself this question, right? Is this thing just a cost center, or could it actually be a serious income stream? Well, today, we're going to break down exactly how you can turn that idle asset into a predictable, active stream of income. Let's dive in.
I want you to think about your simulator right now. Seriously, is it just another line item on your expense report, or is it out there, working for you, actually generating profit? For so many people, it's the first one, but it really doesn't have to be.
All right, here's the game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with what I call the idle asset problem. Then we'll look at two very different paths to profit. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of costs versus predictability, face the reality of risk profiles, explore a really smart hybrid strategy, and then wrap it all up with a new mindset that could totally change how you look at your business.
Okay, let's kick things off with the idle asset problem. This is all about making a crucial mental shift. It's about moving away from just the pride of owning the equipment and toward a really clear-eyed, objective look at your return on investment. You know, one of the biggest misconceptions we see out there is confusing revenue with actual profitability. You can bring in a ton of money, sure, but if you aren't factoring in things like surprise maintenance or unexpected downtime, you might not be making any real profit at all. For a truly healthy business, what you need, what you crave, is predictable, stable profit.
So, how do we get to that kind of profit? Well, there are really two main paths you can take when you compare a simulator to a traditional aircraft. Let's define them.
On one side, you've got simulator leasing. This is a predictable model, right? It's built on structured, syllabus-driven training. It's stable. Then, on the other side, you have aircraft rental, which, let's be honest, is inherently volatile. You're constantly battling weather, you're at the mercy of unexpected maintenance, and don't even get me started on last-minute cancellations. They're just two completely different worlds.
Okay, now let's see how this all plays out where it really counts, in the financials. We're going to do a side-by-side breakdown of the real-world operational realities for each of these models. First up, let's talk fixed costs, the stuff you have to pay no matter what. With a simulator, you're looking at lower insurance, a much smaller facility footprint, and some software licenses. Now compare that to an aircraft where those costs are way higher. We're talking expensive hangar space, hefty insurance premiums, and constant ongoing compliance costs. It's not even close. And then you've got the variable costs. For a simulator, these are tiny. You have almost no consumables, the software updates are predictable, and your risk of downtime is super low. An aircraft, though? Oh man, you're totally exposed to crazy fuel prices, the constant threat of a massive maintenance bill, and a much, much higher risk of unexpected and very expensive downtime.
So here's the bottom line when you put it all together. With simulator leasing, yeah, your profit margin might have a lower ceiling, but it is incredibly stable, rock solid. You need way less utilization to break even, and your downtime risk is minimal. An aircraft, on the other hand, might dangle that carrot of higher potential revenue, but the margins are all over the place, it needs more hours in the air just to break even, and the risk of being grounded is always, always there.
And this brings us to a really critical factor that so many owners just overlook, the risk profile. See, this isn't just about the numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about managing volatility. So, what do I even mean by revenue volatility? Well, think of it like this. It's the constant uncertainty hanging over your head about your future income. It's the risk that just 1 week of bad weather or a single unexpected mechanical issue can completely wipe out an entire month's projected revenue. It is the enemy of a stable business.
Just look at this chart. The aircraft rental revenue, that jagged line, yeah, it might hit higher peaks, but look at those insane swings. It's a total roller coaster. Now look at the simulator lease revenue, that lower, flat line. It's predictable. It's stable. Which one of those would you rather build a business on? One gives you a heart attack, the other lets you sleep at night.
Let's be totally clear about these risks. With an aircraft, you've got significant liability exposure, the constant fear of maintenance spikes, and your insurance premiums jumping, not to mention damage from renters. Now with a simulator, your risks are basically technology becoming obsolete and the cost of software updates, both of which are far, far more manageable and predictable.
Now, hold on. This is not me telling you to go sell your aircraft. In fact, the smartest operators out there are moving way beyond this either-or debate. They're embracing a hybrid strategy.
The key insight here is that this is not about replacement. It's about balancing your risk. It's about using each asset for what it does best, so you can optimize the profitability and, just as importantly, the stability of your entire operation.
And here's how it actually works in practice. It's simple. You use the simulator for all that early-stage, high-repetition training. This saves your actual aircraft for the high-value flight phases where it's absolutely necessary. And the result? You dramatically slash those expensive engine hours and reduce the long-term wear and tear on your airframe. You end up maximizing the ROI across your entire fleet. It's just smart business.
Ultimately, everything we've talked about really comes down to adopting a new mindset. It's about fundamentally changing the questions you ask when you evaluate your big capital assets.
So I want you to stop asking which one makes more money. That's the old way of thinking. Instead, start asking the smarter questions. Which asset gives me predictable cash flow? Which one reduces the operational stress on me and my team? And this is a big one. Which one allows my business to scale without just piling on more liability and more risk?
And that leads us right to our final takeaway. The most profitable asset isn't necessarily the one with the highest hourly rate. It's the one that produces consistent, reliable training hours with the absolute least amount of operational volatility. That is the real key to building a resilient and truly profitable business.